Okay, I'm going to tell you why I'm so afraid of skunks. Many years ago, when Josh was a brand new baby, he had sleep apnea. And sleep apnea is when you stop breathing in your deepest sleep pattern. And sometimes you can stop breathing for 60 seconds at a time. And so he had to wear a monitor on him every time he slept to make sure that we were alerted. An alarm would go off every time he stopped breathing. And we would take this with us everywhere we went. So we had the baby carrier and the diaper bag and the baby monitor and all this stuff that went with it. And at the time, Greg, my husband, and my brother-in-law were painting a duplex that my brother-in-law had just bought. And I was so worried about Josh being in with the paint fumes, with all the breathing problems that he was having, that I would stay at my mom and dad's house in the evening until Greg was done. And then my dad would go and drop me off there when we were finished. Well, on this particular night, we got there at about 10 o'clock. It was really late, and we pulled in where the duplex was, and we were across the street, and there was this huge hedge that ran down the length of the road, and we parked really close to it, like right against it. And I got out to get out of the car and open the door, and I could smell that a skunk had been there, and it was a really thick smell, like we had probably scared the skunk when we drove up, and it had sprayed. And I got out of the car and I was being really careful, and I walked over the dead leaves from the hedge that were on the ground and got to where Josh was in the back seat and pulled out his car seat and his diaper bag and the monitor and all the stuff that we had with him, and I started to walk around the back of the car. And as I started to walk around, I could hear this noise behind me. And so I came around the back of the car, and finally I just froze because I could hear all this noise. And I said, "Dad, the skunk is behind me." And I just froze there. I didn't know what to do. I thought maybe skunks were like bees, and if I just held really still, then maybe the skunk would go away. So I stood there totally frozen, and my dad came up around the back of the car and grabbed Josh in his car seat and took off running down the street as fast as he could without me, just left me there to deal with the skunk on my own. Now, I wasn't stupid, so I took off running behind him down the street as fast as I could. So both of us are just running down the middle of the street in the darkness of the night. And as I'm running, I can hear behind me this noise, and I can hear that it's the skunk, and it's chasing us. And the faster I run, the more I can hear it behind us. And I'm yelling to my dad, "It's chasing us! It's chasing us!" And so he's running even faster. And then I think to myself, wait a minute, skunks don't chase people. And so I turn around and look how close it is behind me, and I see that it's the cord of the monitor, of Josh's monitor, that's dragging behind me, has dragged through the leaves, and is now dragging down the street. And I start laughing so hard that both of us are running away from the cord of the monitor that I fall down in the street just giggling. And my dad stops clear down at the end of the corner, and he's yelling back at me, "Have you been hit? Have you been hit?" And I can't even tell him that there's no skunk, that it's just the cord of this monitor, because it was so funny. That is one of the most embarrassing moments of my life. And since that moment, I don't know why, but I have been terrified of skunks.